So I have with me Mr. C.V. Raman, who is the Chief Technology Officer at Maruti Suzuki, and they've just launched the Alto K10. But I want to ask you, Raman-san, now the Alto has been like one of the largest selling cars for Maruti for many years. We've got 43 lakh customers with this car. But over the last few years, it is no longer the largest selling for the Maruti brand. I think you have your Wagoner, your Baleno, and Swift, which are kind of doing a little more. So, do you see a shift in consumer preference now, moving up the value chain?
Uh, if you see the overall hatch market is about 38-40%, and today if you see the hatch segment itself, we have about a commanding 68% share in that. If you look at the entry hatch, we have about 90% share in the entry hatch segment, and this is where this is, and the entry and the mid hatch if you see, which is basically the Alto K10 now, the Celerio and the Wagoner. You will have about 90% of the market which is there. And if you look at the top 10 cars, you're right. Today, Alto is at number 4. Okay. Having said that, yes, till 2019-20, we had two models. We had the Alto 800 and we had the Alto K10. So together, I think we were at number 1, and we were there for 16 years as far as at number 1. And now I'm sure again with this, the numbers will be back and it will be a different thing.
Right. But going forward now, where do you see the future of the small car segment being? Because if you look at even the price, from the time you launched the Alto back in 2000 September, at the price point it was at, and this is almost 3x the price then, because the input costs have gone up, and now with the new safety norms coming in and the government likely to push the 6 airbag norm as well, which means this will probably be back to the drawing board. Then you see like maybe the entire segment changing.
Well, I believe that still, and the statistics are there. We say 32 or 32 per thousand is the car ownership today penetration, and we have a long way to go as far as mobility is concerned. Also, the income levels post the COVID are changing. Income levels are increasing. We still believe that at every price point there is a customer. As long as we are able to give an aspirational product which is in sync with the times. The K10 is signifying that in a way where for the futuristic or the aspirational customer who is looking at technology, and he is looking for good design, he wants performance, but he's also is looking at affordability, and he looks for spaciousness. I think in that way we are able to definitely give that all those requirements which that customer wants. We are able to provide in that. Yes, it has got 15 plus safety features. We have dual airbag, ABS, EBD, pre-tensioner, force limiter, seat belts, and all of that. And your question was that new norms come in, what happens? Obviously, the new norms will come across the across the range and across all segments. Having said that, absorption ratios are definitely an issue. But I think given a period of time for localization and for development, I'm sure we will be able to look at making a proposition to the customer.
So you're hoping there'll be a time for compliance also?
Obviously, because globally the practice is there where when a draft regulation comes and notification happens, usually the notifications carry a old existing model and new model, and existing models are given more time and new models are given less time. That kind of a discussion already is happening with the government, and we have already as industry requested for that. And so I'm sure looking at that global practice, I'm sure the government will also be looking at it favorably.
Okay, one last question. Now, this car is now at a price point where it is competing with the used car market a lot, because you get a lot, and Maruti itself has a big used car business. Do you see an impact from the used car business taking away sales from this?
See, I think if you look at what is motorization, you look at two-wheeler customer wanting to shift to a four-wheeler. He has choices. Today also 50% of the customers are first-time buyers in the Alto. Additional buyers is also 1/3. So so from that perspective, we do still see there is a pull for the product, and there is a requirement from a product perspective. Yes, there are certain people who would definitely choose a small, a new car, and people who would choose an existing car, and they would choose. But having said that, looking at compliance and looking at you know fuel efficiency and the changes and the features which are required to be there on those products, all of that, if you look at, and the maintenance cost, the also the the uh, the scheme which is there for inspection, maintenance, and
The package, the maintenance
yeah,
package.
maintenance package and all of that, and the destruction of post 15 years of that retiral of vehicles. All of this is, I think, in some way going to have you buy a 10-year-old car, that after 3 years, 4 years, you have to kind of junk it, so those kind of things also, I'm sure, when they all start getting together as a as a system, I think things will change, and definitely new car sales will be there. Yes, surely, true value is always going to be at all segments. There will be people who will be there, who will always want to aspire for a bigger size of car, which is cheaper, and either don't mind
Pre-owned
a pre-owned vehicle. There's subscription models. Mobility is going to change, but ownership, I still believe, is important for Indian customers. So from that perspective, in the rural market, which today is constituting what 68% or so, I think there will be definitely a requirement, and India is a huge diverse country, so to speak.
All right. Thank you so much, Raman.
Thank you.